All right, let's talk about food. You might be surprised to know this, but I love food. Who would have thought? I mean, such a fine specimen. Clearly I like food. I've been everywhere throughout Asia, a lot of Australia. I've tried pretty much foods from everywhere. I like most food. There's a few things specifically that I don't really like pumpkin, but most foods I like. Asia in general has a pretty nice range of foods, and a lot of it is like sort of spicy stuff or things with lots of sauces and rice or noodles and things like that. A lot of it is kind of similar though. So, I mean, not the same, not similar, but similar-ish in that they're kind of spicy or sweet or something else or whatever. The Philippines food is different. A lot of people I think don't love it, but I feel like it depends on what you try and where you have it. I find it's not very spicy, which I do like spicy food. I eat more spicier than most people, and I enjoy spicy food. And everything I've had in the Philippines that said it was spicy was not really that spicy. But they like a lot of things that have like vinegar and like tangy sort of, like with lime on it and things like that, like sort of those sort of flavors. And they're excellent, they're really tasty. So that's pretty good. Now, they do like a lot of rice. It'd be weird for you to have a meal in the Philippines and not have rice. So if you don't like rice, that's probably something you're gonna have to get used to, because even when I'd go to like a carinderia or something like that, more often than not, I'll buy three or four little plates of food, and they'll say, how many rice do you want with it? And I'll just go, well, none or one. And they're like, one? You only want one? And they're like looking at me like I'm crazy. But when I've looked at locals eating at these places, they'll buy one thing of food and have like 2 rice. And it's like a tiny little bit of food and then a big amount of rice, and then another tiny bit of food and a big amount of rice. I try to go the other way. I'd rather have like the main sort of dish. I'd like to eat that mostly and have a little bit of rice with it, or no rice at all even in some cases. I do love rice, don't get me wrong. Carbs, amazing. I love carbs, but carbs don't really love me. So it is hard. You've got to try to be a little careful. But I find that it depends on where you eat. So this video is going to be about the different foods that I've come across in the Philippines, obviously. I don't hate fast food. I don't love it either. But I will eat it from time to time. It's just easy. So, for example, obviously you've heard of, everyone knows Jollibee. It's the biggest thing in the Philippines. It's everywhere. Pretty much every remotely decent sized town has a Jollibee. And it's okay. It's good. If you like fried chicken, it's good. I don't want all the Filipinos to sit here and tell me off for saying it. They're probably going to be sitting there going, it's amazing, it's the best thing ever, because I've literally never met a Filipino that doesn't love Jollibee. It's good, it's nice, but I think there's better stuff, even in fast foodie type stuff. I think there's better stuff over there. There's McDonald's in most of the bigger towns as well. Coming from Australia, and most of the Western countries I would think would be the same, it's unusual. Like the first time I went to a McDonald's in the Philippines, I ordered I don't know what it was, a meal of some sort, like a Big Mac meal or a quarter pounder meal or something. I can't remember what it was. And what came out was your Big Mac, your large fries, your drink, and what looked like a cheeseburger. Like it was something wrapped up about the size of a cheeseburger, same sort of wrapping, same sort of shape. And I was like, I didn't know, like I didn't order a cheeseburger. And when I opened it, it's rice. Obviously, Filipinos are going, of course it's rice, you idiot. That's normal. It's not. Nowhere else. I don't think even all of the other Asian countries I've been to, I'm pretty sure none of the others do that. Like even Singapore and Malaysia and Thailand, like I don't remember seeing rice like that at a Macca's. Sorry, in the Philippines they call it McDo. I think McDo's. In Australia we call it Macca's. In America they call it Mickey D's, but McDonald's. Yeah. Anyway, it's unusual to me. It's very normal over there, but you get rice with everything. Every meal pretty much comes with rice, so get used to that. You might be having noodles for dinner with rice, because carbs with carbs. Okay, fast food. Obviously Jollibee, it's everywhere. Try it, it's worthwhile trying, it's good. It says it's got burgers. I've tried to order burgers 3 or 4 times and always been told they're out of out of stock. So I haven't yet to try one of those, but the chicken is good. In Manila, in Mall of Asia, they've got a Shake Shack, which I'd never tried before anywhere, so I tried that. It was expensive and small. I would not recommend. There's a place called Crispy King, and it's basically fried chicken, and it's a tiny little sort of hole-in-the-wall shop, and it's in every town just about. Like even the really small towns that aren't big enough to have a Jollibee or something like that, it'll probably have a Crispy King, and it is cheap. It's like, for me, I think it was like maybe $1.20 or $1.50, and you get 2 pieces of chicken, some rice, and some gravy. And I like it more than I like Jollibee. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of Filipinos that are saying, "Are you crazy?" But I like it more. It's cheaper and it tastes as good or better, I think. It's also when you're riding around on your own and you've reached a point where you're starving and you've forgotten to eat for a day, chances are the next little town you ride into is going to have one. And it seems to turn over stock very quickly, so it's pretty fresh most of the time. I've never gotten sick from it. I've never had any that tasted or felt cold or anything, even if I went there in weird times. It's good. I like it. It's probably exceptionally bad for you because it's very fried, but it is very delicious. The Crispy King is my favorite if you're just riding around anywhere. But really, my favorite fast food in the Philippines is a place called Mang Inasal, and it's like if you're from anywhere else in the world, it's almost like a Portuguese style chicken. It's like a grilled quarter of a chicken that's been flattened out or something. Like, man, it is the best. It's so delicious, and it comes with like unlimited rice if you pay a little bit extra. It comes with unlimited soups, and the soup is like this sour soup, and it's so good. It has like these chilies, like chili sauce like a chili oil that you can put on it. It's excellent. It's literally my favorite. I crave that, and even just talking about it now, I'm like, man, I want to have some of that now. That is actually my favorite, and that's pretty much in all the big cities as well, or even the sort of medium-sized ones. Pretty much, if you've got a Jollibee, you're probably going to have a Mang Inasal somewhere as well. But yeah, definitely worth it. That one, 100% recommend, and it's probably pretty good for you, I think, because it's grilled, not fried. But it is delicious. Then obviously outside of that, you've got restaurants. At most cities have cafes. Even the smaller cities, like smaller towns, and that will have a cafe or two and some smaller restaurants. And obviously the big cities have big restaurants and whatnot. They range from anything that you would normally get in a restaurant, but you can often find some of them which will have Filipino type food. You can buy like lumpia or rice dishes or noodles dishes, and it's good. They're pretty good. More expensive, obviously, than what you would pay for if you went to more expensive than what you would pay for, obviously, if you went to like a carinderia or somewhere like that. But the food from them, it ranges from like all different types. Obviously, you can get burgers, or you can get pizzas, or you can get steak. I've never had a steak there, but you could. American foods. There's a range of everything, but also Filipino ones, which is pretty tasty as well. Probably the places that I've eaten at most when I've been over there each trip is the carinderias, and they're open from breakfast through till late at night. I would suggest eating at like a food time, and what I mean by that is obviously, 6 o'clock through till 8:30 in the morning is probably a good time to eat the food that you would expect to see there at breakfast time. 10:30 might not be the greatest time to eat them, because basically these carinderias, they've cooked this dish and then they've put them out. It'd be like going to a Western restaurant which has like a bain-marie, and it's got all the food in the heater, like in the warming things in the bain-marie, which keeps the food warm, which stops it from going, getting bacteria or anything in there that's going to make you sick with food poisoning. Except it doesn't have the bain-maries, so they'll just have like a table or a bench or something, and they'll have all the food laid out on their little containers there, and you pretty much just walk up and you open one, you open the next, you open the next. Some of them will have 3 or 4 different dishes. Some of them will have 25 different dishes, and you pretty much just sort through them and say, I'll have one of that and one of that and one of that, and then you can eat there. And it's cheap and usually delicious. Like, it's usually really good. But again, it is hot there in the Philippines, and it's sitting out in the open. So if you're going for breakfast and it's now 10 o'clock, I would probably not go to one of those. I would have gone as I said, between 6 and 8:30 or something like that. If you're going for lunch, 11 o'clock through till about 1:30, probably good. 3:30 in the afternoon, maybe not so great. I have been to one at about 3:30 in the afternoon without thinking about it. And now I've got like a gut of steel. I can eat pretty much everything, street food from everywhere. It's rare that I get food poisoning. It happens, but it's rare. In one of my trips, I had a friend with me, and we went to one of these carinderias, and we just hadn't eaten all day, and we hadn't thought about it. I'm like, we'll just stop at the next place we see, and we saw one, and we stopped. We didn't even think that it was like 3:30 in the afternoon or whatever time it was. So we ordered food, and we sat down, and I started eating first. And as I took the first couple of mouthfuls, I went, it's cold, and it should have been hot. And so I said to my friend, because he doesn't have a stomach of steel, and I said, the food's cold. And he went, okay, that's all right. And I just thought he would have understood what I meant by that, in that I'm not sure if you want to eat it because it's cold, you might get sick. But I didn't say all that. I just said to him, the food's cold. And he just went, what are you going to do? And so we kept eating. We both ate, and that was fine. And within maybe another hour or two, because we were driving back to where we were staying, within an hour or two, he started going, man, I'm sick. I'm feeling really, really sick. And he got quite bad food poisoning and was really sick for maybe 2 or 3 days. So yeah, would not recommend eating at the carinderias in non-food times, but breakfast time, a couple of hours, lunchtime, a couple of hours, dinner time, a couple of hours, definitely worth eating at them. You can buy like most of these places, you can buy like 3 or 4 dishes, have some rice and a drink, and it's probably only going to cost you, I don't know, $2 or $3, maybe $4 or $5 if you're going wild and getting a lot of stuff. But generally speaking, I think most carinderias, when I'm eating, I find that it costs, and this is Australian dollars, so if you're in America or England where your money's worth a lot more than ours, you would probably be able to do it for half the price of what I'm saying. So, but you could probably eat breakfast Australian dollars for $1.50 or $2 if you had 3 or 4 dishes, maybe 3 little dishes and some rice. Lunch might be $4 or $5. So if you're American, maybe it's $2.50 or something like that. It's really value for money, and more often than not, it's like it's delicious, but it's also, unlike here or in the West, where you go to places, you get a lot of like processed, like highly processed foods, yeah? I feel like the food there, when you're eating from these carinderias, they've taken meat, like proper meat, and it's now been turned, like just chopped up and cooked with it, and vegetables have been chopped up and cooked, and eggs, which are, it's not processed, it's all freshly made somewhat, and it's also like, I don't know how to explain it other than say it's real food as opposed to highly processed food. And so even though I feel like I eat a lot when I'm traveling over there, 1, it's hot, so you sweat a lot, and 2, you're usually out walking, you're going to waterfalls and all these places, and eating this food from these sort of places that's cheap but it's really good. I find that I normally lose weight when I'm over there, even though I eat way more there than what I normally eat when I'm here. I haven't really spoken about the specific foods. So I've just had basically showing you what all the different pictures of foods and whatnot the whole way through. But more often than not, when you're in a city as well, you'll find a street where there will be just food vendors after food vendors after food, like shops, but lots of them in a row, which you'll see on here with the video that I'm showing at the moment. And it's just like chicken shop, chicken shop, chicken shop, chicken shop, lechon, something else all in a row. So you can just kind of walk along and pick and choose what you want. Often there'll be barbecue places or, it's just, or fruit shops or fish stalls or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, the reality is the food there is actually pretty good. I find that it's difficult to get a lot of vegetables. So when I see vegetables, I usually get that because I find that it's mostly like meaty, saucy dishes, and I love that. But after a few weeks of no vegetables, I start to think that I'm turning into a big lump of meat, funnily enough. But I miss vegetables, so usually if there's vegetables, I'll buy them. In the mornings, they often have like this bitter gourd, which is all chopped up and mixed with egg. That's pretty good. Sometimes they have I don't know what the vegetable is, but it's kind of like, I think in China or in Malaysia, they call it kangkong, something like that. It's like like a green leafy vegetable mixed with, usually with garlic and, I don't know, butter or something like that, and that's pretty good too. And then obviously you have all these other dishes like kinilau, which is raw fish with some vegetables and usually tomato and some chili in it. I've had some of those which were actually spicy, and then usually they'll have coconut milk and like limes, like calamansi limes squeezed over it, which is it's very tasty. Probably one of the top 3 meals I've ever eaten in my life was from a restaurant over there that sold that, and it was just I stayed at a nice hotel called Bohol Beach Club for 2 nights. I think it was 2 nights, and just outside of that was a restaurant which I went and ate one night and had kinilau there, and it was probably top 3 meals that I've ever eaten in my entire life. It was so good. But yeah, other foods, lechon. Obviously, if you're in the Philippines, try lechon. That's like your spit roasted pig with the crunchy skin and everything. It's amazing. Pretty much the national dish is going to be, I would assume, is going to be either lechon or adobo. There's a range of like soups that have some like sinigang, which is like a sour soup with vegetables in it. I said there was no vegetables, and then I'm talking about all this stuff with vegetables. There's a lot of meaty sort of ones as well, but I don't know what they're called. So it's like almost like a stew with like beef cheeks in it, or another one which is like pork in it. There's a lot of sort of pork and chicken and beef sort of stew type sort of soup dishes. There was something that I had at one, and I was in a little carinderia in I don't know, I can't remember the name of it, but it was like a broth soup, and it had like a big piece of like that round sort of sliced through of the leg bone of I think it was of like the water buffalo. I can't remember what they call them there. Anyway, and it was like full marrow all in the middle of it, which I'd never had before, and it was excellent. It was really good. The other thing they have as well is they have like this sizzling plate, which has, they call it sisig, which is like I think it's all like the face bits, like the ear and the nose and whatnot of the pig, all chopped up and then fried up in this little thing, like on a skillet, and it's significantly better than what I thought it would be, and it's very tasty as well. I think they tend to eat that when they're drinking, like, you know, if you're having drinks, you might have that there, so you can pick at that at the same time. It'd go together real well. Pretty salty, but very tasty. That's kind of it. Not really a story of it at all. It's just I love food, and here's some photos of food, and here's some of the stuff about that food and the types of places you can eat food, and expect when I go back to the Philippines next time that you'll see more stuff of food as well. And if you are watching this long into the video, jump onto my Instagram as well, because on Instagram, when I am over there, I tend to take photos real time and upload stuff each day or each night of the food and the places that I've been, and it's often you'll get stuff about food and places I've been that I won't necessarily put onto here because it's just kind of a random picture at a time, but definitely it's good. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm going to be off to the Philippines in 1 week, so the next couple of videos might be a little different to this one. We'll see if I can get through some more, but I've got a couple where I'm just going to do video of me riding for say 10 minutes, just to give you an idea of what the roads look like in different parts of the Philippines for like just 10 minutes of riding. It will be quick and easy videos that I can actually put up so that there's some extra stuff there for whilst I'm away for the next 3 or 4 weeks. And then I'll be back to make some more. Anyway, again, like, subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. Have an awesome day. And if I don't see you before I get back, I'll see you when I get back after my trip. Bye.